Hello, everyone. You're watching Winter Pride 2018. I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to get right into it with Donkey Kong Country 3 Dixie Kong's Double Trouble by DemonBattler. We're also joined by their commentator, Stu. So we're going to go ahead and drag them in here and get this ball rolling. Hello, Stu and DemonBattler.
Hello. Pleasure to be here.
Here's what we're gonna do. We have you up on stream. You can go ahead and give a small introduction and maybe explain a little bit about the game, and then you can either give me a countdown or I can give you one.
Okay, so we got DemonBattler. He's going to be playing all stages for you guys. So there's going to be 8 worlds, and he's using a water code right here to help him unlock the 8th one that's usually kind of hidden away. So yeah, his objective is going to be to beat all of those levels in each of those worlds. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the introduction of the game. Pretty much handles just like all the other Donkey Kong Country Trilogy games from the SNES. I believe for the file name, the winner was Clever. So he'll be entering that in after the water code gets punched in.
It was a little long, so we're abbreviating it to not long.
Yeah, so in DKC 1 and 2, there actually is no file names. It's the specialty of DKC 3, but it is limited to just 5 letters, unfortunately. So Clever was the best we could do. But it's a fun little quirk of the game. Gives it a little bit extra character when you're speedrunning. Kind of naming your file.
All right, whenever you're ready, you can either give a countdown or I can give you one.
Okay, well, let's I'll give the countdown for Demon. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so it starts a little bit later, but that's fine. Not a big deal. So we're gonna start this run, forcing our way into to Wrinkly's cave. Whoa. What, is anyone else seeing? Okay, that was weird. Anyways, so we're gonna go to Wrinkly's cave. Since we have the water code in, we're able to go over to this Banana Bird cave, and it's actually gonna give us, I believe that's what gives us all of the bonus coins, so that it helps us unlock, it lets us play all the levels in the hidden world called Krematoa. Again, that's normally the last world that you play in this game when you're doing 103%, but you do have to get all the bonus coins throughout every level to play those specialty levels. So this water code helps us unlock that right away. Are we having technical difficulties here?
I was flagged that we need a mulligan. We're going to reshuffle this here real quick, so I'm going to go ahead and let Ariel know to reset the timer, and we'll get this rolling in just a second.
Yeah, I apologize for that, guys. Not the way we would have liked to start this. But we'll get this cleared up momentarily. We'll
Sorry about that.
All right, I have been told that the timer has been reset, so whenever you are ready to go again, reset and then give Ariel another countdown.
Okay, I'll actually be in this one, like to keep that in mind. My timer didn't load, and then by the time I tried to start it, I accidentally hit the wrong button trying to get in cave. Specifically, I messed up the Simon Says part.
Okay, Demon, you want me to give the countdown again?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm going mute now.
Okay, sounds good. Good luck again. So here we go in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, and we're off. So we're gonna try this again. So like I was saying, we're forced to go to Wrinkly. She's gonna save the game for us, well, which is important. If you don't, something weird happens, I think, if you beat the game if you beat the first K rule at the end of World 7 without saving the game. Okay, we're just gonna get that out of the way right here, right now. Then go over to this Banana Bird Cave with the water code. It's gonna allow us to get all the bonus coins, so we don't have to play the bonuses throughout every stage. So we can get to play the Crematoa levels free and easy. It's a little game, as Simon says. And look at that, look at, boom, straight to 85 bonus coins. That's awesome. Yeah, there are developer intended cheat codes that you can insert at the beginning of the file select screen. Water is the one that Demon used here. There's another very popular one in the community called Color. It would change the color palette of Dixie and Kitty from this like pink and blue to a purple and like tealish color. So that's a fun one. Or if you're in the holiday spirit, you can always do the Merry code, MERRY, and it changes how the bonus items look. But yeah, we're going to start in Worlds 1 and 2 here. Not too much going to be going on. Going to be entering a developer warp barrel in every single one of these levels in the first 2 worlds. So as long as you know where they are, these levels are pretty quick and free. Little team up there. It is kind of cool to note that there is a trick called a 2-1 jump. It's a frame perfect trick that lets you jump a little bit higher than you're supposed to be able to jump, which hands the camera upwards a little bit more in that first level, loading in that warp barrel, and then you can just team throw in it. It saves about like a second and a half, something like that. But again, frame perfect trick, so I can't blame Demon for not going for it in this marathon run. So yeah, 1-2 doorstop dash there. It actually is a pretty tough level when you're playing 103%, when you're actually playing throughout the level. But when you have warps, it becomes pretty trivial because you only have to go through like 2 doors. So here we're gonna team up, team throw back to the left to one almost off screen right there. Like that one as a kid is one that'd be kind of hard to find since it is a little bit out of the way. It's gonna be our first introduction to some ice physics. We're gonna see Demon jump there at the very beginning of the level. That way you can get up to maximum horizontal velocity right away. Whereas if you were just running to the right at the very beginning of the stage, it's a little bit slower. Not a huge deal if you forget to do it, but a nice little optimization from Demon right there. And then this last level in World 1, Murky Mill, we're going to try to team throw as early as possible into that warp barrel. That's a little bit of the optimization there. Because you can actually throw just before the elevator actually stops, and Dixie will have enough height to actually reach that warp barrel. So we're off to the first boss of the game. I would say most of the bosses are pretty fun to play. This one is one of the few that I think is a little bit tame. We're just gonna bop on these barrels to unleash a bug, and then we're gonna jump with bug in hand into Belcha's mouth, and then he'll just burp his way backwards into oblivion. You see he falls right off the screen right there. It's kind of cool to note though that there is a way to soft lock in that boss. There's like a 1, maybe 2 frames, I can't remember the exact count, where if you're too early putting the bug in his mouth, his teeth actually come unhinged from him, and they just start chomping away to the left while Belcha stays stationary. So the only way to get out of that is to run off the ledge to the left, kill yourself, and try again. Doesn't happen too often, but it's kind of a cool effect for a little showcase. A little party trick. So the interesting thing to know about this level, 2-1, is that this is going to be the deepest that we're going to go into a level before finding the developer warp. You see just how far we went in before we finally got it. I wish I knew why the developers put this one so deep into the level. That level is actually a pretty cool one. Those monkeys can be pretty annoying, but you can get some cool rope jumps to avoid their nuts. This is another really cool level, Riverside Race. The interesting aspect about this is that you have that timer on screen. So when you're not using the warp barrels, it's pretty cool to play the whole level in its entirety with the computer keeping track for you. Trying to find little optimizations here and there so that you can actually see on screen what kind of a benefit they give you. But since we take the warp barrel, the game developers decided to pretty much scratch out your whole time on that level, because there is a bear later in this world that you talk to, and if you beat his time in Riverside Race, he pretty much unlocks a banana bird for you. So they didn't want you to cheese that story plot by using the warp barrel. So that's why you see like all the 9s and stuff in the timer when you use the warp barrel in that level. Okay, we're coming up to the Demon went the wrong direction there. It is a thing that happens though in DKC 3 more than DKC 1 and 2. The way the map is laid out in several of the different worlds, you might need to go up and to the right, but one of those D-pad directions will actually take you in the wrong direction. So there are a few spots where that can be an issue in the run. So not too surprising to see that happen here to Demon. But yeah, this is, I think, what a lot of people would call one of the harder bosses in DKC 3. DKC 3, more so than the other two games, has pretty challenging bosses. And this one in particular is annoying because you need to throw these barrels at a very particular point in time so that it hits the underside of Eric's head without hitting his left or right leg. If it hits the legs, it will shatter the barrel. Although there is a way to throw the barrel above Eric, there is a very small frame window where it can make contact without rolling off his back. But it's pretty challenging and not really recommended as an RTA strat. So yeah, Funky, unlike the other two Donkey Kong games, he actually is a mechanic in this game. So we'll be giving him random items and he'll be fixing up cool vehicles for us to take throughout our run here. The first, we got the patch for the hovercraft. So we're now going to be able to ride over rocks. Now, the special thing about all stages compared to just regular any percent is that you do have to beat Krematoa, which is what he's doing right here. He's unlocking that world. You're supposed to circle around these rocks. I believe it's 3 times if done optimally. However, the game can be a little bit finicky. As you see right here, Demon's having a little bit of trouble making Krematoa spawn. But there we go. He finally does get it, which is nice. And so we're going to be able to go in here and give Boomer those 85 bonus tokens that we kind of cheesed our way into with that developer code at the beginning of the run. So he's going to bop a button here, and all of the rocks are going to explode, allowing us access to the various levels of Krematoa, which these levels, mind you, are essentially, this is essentially World 8 in the 103% category, and as such, being the final world, they are known for being some of the more difficult levels in the game. So it's kind of interesting in this run that we start the run with 2 worlds of nothing but warps, and then immediately go into some really challenging stages. So we're going to see how Demon fares in this. This is an annoying stage in the sense that it's an auto-scroller that goes by really, really quickly. And you know, just 1 or 2 mistakes could spell doom for you. So Demon really needs to make sure he has the whole level layout memorized, which I know he for sure does. But yeah, this is not a level to joke around with when you're in the 103% category, because you really can't take any damage if you want to get all of the various bonuses and DK coins. That damage though there was intentional. There is a DK barrel that he gets to pick up shortly after that damage, which is important because he sets up his Kongs this way. So in DKC 2, when you are playing as an animal buddy, whatever donkey or whatever Kong you start out as, when you turn into an animal, that's the Kong that you'll end up as when you stop being that animal. In DKC 3, it's different. It actually remembers your Kong order. So when he started this level as Dixie into the Ellie barrel, then he took damage. The game knew that he was supposed to be Kitty in front. So when he exited the Ellie signpost thing, you see how he spawned as Kitty, which is important for this level because we're going to be doing a little trick to bypass, or we're going to squeeze past the bee by staying very close to this wall and team throwing to bypass some sections where you're supposed to go either left or right and kind of wiggle your way around the level layout. But yeah, this is a USA cartridge exclusive. On the Japanese cartridge of the game, the B positioning compared to the wall is slightly different, and you're not quite able to make that squeeze. There has been a recent development in the DKC3 world where there's a trick called a zip involving a team throw, and your Kong goes upwards in one direction, you go horizontally in a different direction, and it kind of zips you all the way up. So while this does look pretty fast, and it is a much faster way to play this level than the developer intended way, there actually is an even faster way that is just starting to take hold in the run. So I'm not too surprised that Demon might not have practice with this as of yet, because it is such a fresh trick. But maybe in the future, if you follow Demon, you'll see him start to incorporate that into his run, because it is really, really cool to see the zips in progress. So not too many issues there. I think he took damage, like one time, and had maybe one rough throw, but that's to be expected. Like I said, these World 8 levels are actually pretty tough. So now we're off into Tyrant Twin Tussle. There's a few spots where you see he's going to have to just delay and wait for the twins to get out of his way. And other ones, we're going to see him try to jump over and through some of the Tyrant Twins if he's feeling frisky. But yeah, since he is just a solo Dixie right now, I won't blame him if he decides to take a few of these jumps safe. Like right there, he probably could have jumped and flown over that guy, but as one Kong, it probably is the smarter decision just to play it safe, make sure you don't die. This level, it's not super duper long, but it's also not super duper short. And again, there's a lot of delaying that he's having to do throughout this, so a death here would be pretty costly. So right there, it looks like he opts to deboost through that section. Those Tyrant Twins are jumping pretty high and with very short jumps. You're supposed to be able to jump through them after, like, on their way back to the left. So you have to wait quite a long time before you can actually get through them. So the two options there are to either deboost through, which is what Demon did, or there is a little jump wiggle that you can do to sneak between the Tyrant Twins and the red bee at the end of that level. Very tricky strat, though. Very easy to take damage anyways. So yeah, it's if you're trying to make a perfect run, that's definitely a nail biter for sure. So Demon's taking his parrot now, squawks through swoopy salvos. Got to watch out for all these birds swooping through these various holes. Kind of a confusing stage when you're playing casually. I feel like there's a lot of ways that you think you can go. It's easy to get lost, and obviously these birds swooping in kind of come at you pretty quick, so very easy to take damage as well. Yeah, Demon's climbing this tree very, very beautifully. Swaps to Kitty there intentionally. So this coming up section, there should be 3 birds that he's going to want to trigger their swooping animation and he's going to trigger them by having Kitty in front and then teaming up with Dixie on his shoulders, and that gets them started earlier than if he was just solo Kitty jumping on his own. And then he's able to team throw up to the door above him. So now that strat right there, we are trying to jump at a perfect time. Well, it's not, I shouldn't say perfect. It's not a frame perfect time, but it is a little challenging of a jump to hit that salvo at the right position where you have enough height to actually reach the next branch. So yeah, it took him a few tries. Totally understandable, perfectly normal. We got the Rocket Rush level here. This is the final level of Krematoa. You can see these red bees. If you hit them from underneath, you don't actually die, but your rocket goes back upwards. And you see on the right side of your screen, there is a fuel gauge there. So if you hit too many red bees, and you have to get pushed back up and you lose your downward momentum, you will run out of fuel before you hit this halfway point. And if you just kind of crash into the like bottom of a platform on your way down, you just instantly die, even if you have 2 bongs. So that downward part, the descent, is actually kind of challenging. This upward part, I think, is the easier part of the 2. However, it is only easier once you memorize the route. I think as just a casual player of this game, it can be very hard to know where you're supposed to be going in this. You kind of follow the bananas, but at the same time, as you can see right there, Demon did bonk that 1 time. And he knows where he's going. So if you actually bonk twice, it's almost a guarantee that you won't have enough fuel to make it all the way to the top. So usually in a casual playthrough, it will take you several tries to get the ascent completed. But shout outs to Demon, does get it with only 1 bonk. Very, very nice. So yeah, each of those levels that we beat in Krematoa, it does give you these gears, which unlocks K. Rool, the second fight of K. Rool, otherwise known as Nautilus. So yeah, this submarine is going to come out of this blood red pool now. And so Demon's actually going to be facing what is really considered the final boss of this game. Pretty early on in this run. So pay attention, you can see the at the very top middle of the screen, there's a black line that is kind of wiggling all crazy like. Keep eye on that. A little bit later, it'll actually come into good use as a player. There's gonna be a hot trick that I'll give you guys to help you beat this boss that most people probably do not know about. To be honest, even after I started running, I wasn't aware of this until a little bit later when someone mentioned it to me. So definitely gonna spread the good word about that. So yeah, these cheese balls are going to be shot out. It's going to go back and forth, left and then right, and then the electric line will disappear, giving Demon the ability to throw this tin can onto K. Rool's backpack. We need to hit him, I believe, a total, so 3 times for the first cycle. Now we're on the second phase, so I think 3 more hits on the second phase, and then we'll unlock the final phase of this fight. However, you can see right there, Demon was a little bit early. It's a little bit deceptive exactly when you're supposed to jump and throw with this barrel. So yeah, Demon dropped a whole cycle there. Very, very unfortunate. But yeah, not a huge issue in terms of like him being not able to beat the boss. Like he should be totally fine beating the boss, just has to waste the whole cycle right there. I'm sure he'll shake that off, no problem. And get this 6th and final hit. They can see that there actually is a small window that right after the electricity dissipates that you can jump and throw the tin can and get K. Rool right away without having to wait for him to go back and forth to the left or right. But it's a very, very tight window. We call those the quick hits. You can do them on hit number 4 and hit number 6 of the fight. So I was talking about the black line in the middle of the screen. Notice when the electricity is about to come out, the needle stops and it's on the right side this time, meaning the electricity was going to come from the right to the left. So Demon's going to be paying attention to that. Again, this is a right side electricity because the needle was on the right side of that line when it stopped moving. So yeah, it can also be on the left side. It just didn't happen in the 2 times that I was paying attention to it. But that's a really, really nice trick. If you're just casually playing this out and you're worried about that electricity, if you pay attention to the needle, you should never fail that final phase of K. Rool. Very, very cool thing that you have to be like, I don't know who was observant enough to figure that out, but that's very, very nice. There's also another trick that you can do to if you get into a big pickle. I don't know if it's a USA version only thing or if it's if the Japanese cart can also do it, but you can actually press start after the electricity jolt is fully out and about, and the jolt will keep moving and it won't harm you during the pause. So that's another way that you can kind of cheese that boss if you ever get into that situation. This is one of my favorite levels, the Machine Factory level, this is Fireball Frenzy. There's also Blazing Bazooka, and the last one is Crackshot Croc, aka ASK. All 3 of these machine levels are very, very cool, fun platformers, and I think it has a very nice aesthetic to it. We'll see 2 of these machine levels in forget what this Mechanos. Well, this world's called Mechanos. So we'll see 2 of those 3 levels in Mechanos, and the last one will be in K3. So Demon's gonna come up to these. So these birds are shooting cheese balls at you, and we're gonna bypass the first 2. We're gonna sneak under the first 2, but the third set, we're purposely gonna take that damage to go straight up onto the rope. You can continue to the left as the developers want you to. And there's like another set of owls there waiting with those cheese balls. But that deboost does save a little bit of time, bypassing essentially 3 phases of owls right there. This is another DKC3 is very unfortunate in the sense that there are in Mechanos 2 auto-scrollers back to back that are both kind of long, and the first one, Demolition Drain Pipe, which we're playing right here, is actually quite tough as a casual playthrough. You can see just how fast Demon's moving through this drain pipe. So he really needs to pay attention, or like know where all of the enemies are, so he knows where and when he can jump. And let's see if he goes for. There are like divots in the ground that you can jump into to kind of gain a little bit of movement speed. And it looks like he's going for the safe route, not jumping into those pits. Can't blame him. It is such a minimal time save, but kind of the way it works, as far as I'm aware, is that the game kind of realizes your delta Y. So like whenever he's on the railing up top and then he drops down, you can, like he did right there, you can see he gets a nice little burst of speed for just a short amount of time. But you can replicate that effect by jumping into those pits to give you that same delta Y. So getting a little bit of burst of speed. But again, it is pretty risky, and these things do move fast. And if you are late on your jump out of the pit, you will take damage or die. So yeah, definitely the smart move to not really go for that. Unless you're going for like a high level PB attempt. So yeah, like I said, there's 2 back-to-back auto-scrollers in Mechanos. The first one being very, very challenging due to its speed. This second one is challenging due to its level of boredom, unfortunately. There's not much Demon can do in this one. He just has to wait for the saw to naturally take him up the tree. You'll notice that he's purposely avoiding killing these rats. He's doing that to save lag frames. Every time you kill an enemy in this game, there's like a 2-frame freeze. You can see, right, it might be hard to tell, but when you're in control of it and you're like close to your TV, you can definitely see it if you're looking for it. That when you kill these enemies, the game kind of pauses for just a little bit of time. And while casually playing 1 or 2 kills, not a big deal. When you're talking about however many rats there are here, 10 rats or something, that are going to get in your way during the course of this level, if each of them are 2 frames and the game runs at 60 FPS, you're talking about half a second lost just to killing rats. So we're gonna try to avoid doing that as best as possible. That rat right there, we have to kill him to get to the next platform. But most of these other rats, we're definitely gonna be jumping over if we can help it. So yeah, the key to this level is just to not fall asleep. You really shouldn't have too much issue as a runner getting through this. But it is, because it is such a long level, I think it's like, is this the one that's like 2 minutes long or something? It's pretty long, and so it's very, very easy to get complacent and not realize that, oh shoot, I just like let myself get eaten by a saw or run into a bee or let a rat get in my way or something, stuff like that. But yeah, Demon having no issues here, which I definitely would have expected for him to not have any issues. So very nice. And yeah, we're gonna hop on over to, like I said, one of my favorite levels coming up as well, Blazing Bazooka. Again, all of these machine levels, Fireball Frenzy, Blazing Bazooka, and Crackshot Croc, all fantastic. So he's going to... Okay, I guess he's going to take a kitty rat. I'm not too familiar with this. Normally I play this with Dixie in front. So it'll be interesting to see how he's going to go through this. Okay, I guess he did that on purpose to set up a D-boost to then get to Dixie in front, with also having the safety of being able to bypass that toxic pit without any fear. So it's a nice, smart, safe strat right there. Very, very cool. But yeah, so these auto barrels, or any of these barrels that Demon is entering into, if you have 2 Kongs, you have to wait for the second Kong to enter the barrel with you before you can be shot out. So for each one of these barrels that he's entering with solo Dixie or solo Kitty for that matter, he is actually saving time. So this is a nice like optimization. It is obviously a little bit riskier. Anything will kill him at this point since he is solo. But all these juicy frames that he's saving by being able to instantly shoot out of these barrels as soon as he touches them is very, very nice. Now there is a rope glitch at the end of this level, and I have to imagine that's why Demon decided to jump over that rope. Normally what we do as runners, we roll off that one ledge, go and roll under the rope, and then jump back up onto the rope. But the problem is that there is some glitchiness in the coding, and if you do it at the wrong timing, the jump back up to the rope, you can actually get hooked onto a banana and stuck there. And then the TNT guy who's on your left is going to fire a TNT barrel right in your face and kill you. And since you're solo Dixie at that point, so that's instant death on the level, and the halfway point is out of the way, so we don't grab it. So yeah, for a marathon setting, I definitely don't blame him for not going for that roll through the rope strategy, because it can kill you if you get a little bit unlucky there. Okay, so this is Logi Labyrinth. I forgot to mention that the gimmick on that the green gas slows you down. So that like if this level was at regular movement speed, it wouldn't be that long of a level. But because we're slowed down by a huge margin, it takes forever to get through this level. And any mistake that you make is really magnified. So like at the very beginning of the level, when he was the Kongs and he was jumping from ledge to ledge, if he had, let's say, short jumped one of them and fallen back down, that time that he would have lost would have been multiple seconds longer than if he had failed a jump of similar magnitude on a regular physics level. So for that reason alone, I just absolutely hate this level as a runner. It's just so slow and so punishing if you do make a mistake. But yeah, Demon not really having any. Oh, commentator's curse right there. I spoke too soon. So the thing right there is that you want to cut those corners on your way to the signpost despawn, so that you can bypass the bee without having to delay. However, you'll notice that in the run, if you look back at the run, he actually bonked on the upper left corner there, and so he lost his momentum and could not beat out the B cycle, and then that's instantly, if you keep going, if you don't like bail out of that strategy, you will take damage on that B. So he did have a little bit of an awkward ending to that level, but didn't panic. That ending with Kitty is significantly harder than with Dixie. With Dixie, you're able to roll and jump through those Bs pretty cleanly. Yeah, he got through there without killing himself as Kitty, so that is commendable. And now he's off to the Chaos boss, a pretty challenging boss. We are on the USA version of the game, so he's able to implement a strat of infinite team throwing. This is a US only strat. On the J version of Chaos, you have to fight him completely differently, because as soon as you hit him on the head, you kind of get pushed off. You can't stay in the air like that. But yeah, he's going to be able to team throw, and then as soon as the Kong gets back on him after bopping on Chaos's head, he's going to re-throw again. And if he does it right, he's going to be able to maintain that height above Chaos's head so that he can fall back onto him and get the next hit right away. Anytime you drop one of those cycles, it's roughly about 15 seconds. So I believe that was a 2-cycle there, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he only had, I only think he had 2 team-ups. So very, very solid boss fight from Demon. That is not easy. It takes a lot of practice to be able to get 2 or even 1-cycle Chaos fights. A lot of newer runners struggle to even get 3-cycle Chaos. So, give a round of applause for Demon right there. Very, very well executed. So, there are the obligatory water levels in all the Donkey games, or, in most platform games in general. However, I will say that as a runner of all 3 games, I do think Baza's Blockade, I think is what this one's called, is actually quite fun. In terms of water levels. We'll see if Demon goes for it. Yeah, so he's going for a cool strat right there. You can actually hug the bottom of some of these platforms and squeeze under these Bazas. So we'll see if he attempts it on this next one. The first one is I think relatively easy. This second one is very easy to take damage on. So he does opt to not go for the under the Boz's strat there. Like I said, that is a tougher one. And he did not set up that one either. But that one's like a minimal time save. So you have to really set up that third one for it to be successful. But I do expect him to go for this this one right here. A little bit of a long left-right wiggle there, so he wasn't really able to make it look as cool, but he still went for it. So, ooh, he messed up so he was trying to go for a camera manipulation right there to not load in the top set of Boz's right there. Normally, if you keep your camera pan to the right, that top line doesn't spawn, so you get to the second line before anything spawns in. So he had to wait an extra cycle there. Not a huge deal, but I'm sure he's kind of bummed that he kind of bonked on the just before that part and it messed up the camera, and now he's gonna have to get his Kong back right there. We do need both Kongs in multiple parts of this level for specific deboosts. I mean, technically you don't need both Kongs. You could play it out en natural, if you will, but it's much faster to deboost through a few of these parts. So right here, he's going to keep going to the left, even though that B's in his way. And he can see he can just fly straight into that up arrow barrel. Very, very nice. And then we're going to get a DK barrel back shortly after this auto barrel. And there's going to be a part where we're going to deboost Dixie away and play the back half as Kitty. Yeah, I think the DK barrel is coming up right now. And then now that he's got his second Kong back, he will deboost through these next set of Bs to skip some of these up arrow barrels, because they do take a while. They have to, you go up and then it kind of pauses and then it shoots you out and then you don't have the full momentum. So yeah, deboosting through that is much faster. And then we get our DK barrel back right there, and we're going to be able to skip past a platform. Like, it's a whole section to the right that we're bypassing with a team up, team throw into that up arrow barrel. And taking damage right there, not a big deal, because when you are on the overworld map, just like I told you with two Kongs entering a barrel, you have to wait for the second Kong to enter. Similarly, on the overworld, when you want to enter a level, get to the next spot, you have to wait for your second Kong to catch up. So having one Kong on the overworld is actually optimal. And in addition to that, in this level, 4-3, we have a lot of lag that gets induced when Kitty is on the screen with Dixie. So playing this level as solo Dixie is definitely the optimal choice. However, there is a scary ending to this level. You'll notice that there is a Nibbler fish at the bottom that kind of is staying on her tail, if you will. And normally we're taking these ropes above to avoid the water. However, there is a strat at the end coming up, like right here, I think it is, where we can actually roll through these three kaboings or whatever into the water. And if we set up our fish correctly, where we have the fish heading to the left off screen, that roll through the water is fast enough that we can actually beat the fish in the water through that final ending section. I think it saves like a second or something like that. But again, since you only have one Kong and that platform with the coins is really, really small, very easy to get yourself killed. And if you don't set up the fish's movement properly, if he's not heading to the left as you're rolling through those jumping guys, then he'll also kill you in the water. So there's a lot of ways to mess that up. So can't blame Demon for not going for that strat. And there's another strat for here that I also don't expect Demon to go for, because it's a very spooky strat. It's called 2 cycles. So you'll see he took 3 shots to go through that section right there, bypass that green bee. There is a way to do it in 2, but it is very, very scary. And again, whenever you only have one Kong, it's a lot safer to take that extra shot and make sure you'll be okay, because one mistake and you're going to take damage on the bee and die. So yeah, unless you're going for like a super high-end PB, you probably won't see that 2 cycle strat, but it is cool nonetheless that it exists. Ooh, I was worried about that. I didn't want to commentator, because that, when you don't have, so normally that section we deboost through. We usually have 2 Kongs there, and we purposely take damage on the first bee, and it lets us take the second Kong straight up into the barrel on the top left side, and then we take that barrel back to the right. However, he did take damage earlier on, so he didn't have that D boost available to him. And you can see the way that section is set up, the developers want you to kind of go straight up a little bit and then go to the left. And Demon tried to do that, but he moved to the left a little bit too late on one of them, so he wasn't far enough to the left on the second one to quite make the next transition, and then got clipped by the B. Very, very unfortunate for Demon, because this is like the very end of the level. So I'm sure he's bummed out about that, but he is going to make it through here on his second try. No problem this time. And now he can breathe a sigh of relief through Tracker Barrel Trek. I do think Tracker Barrel Trek is a pretty tough stage, and it's followed by another one where if you do get off cycle on this stage, it's very easy to get yourself killed. So hopefully, cross your fingers, Demon has no problems here. So I mentioned about Nibla earlier in 4.3. Here in 4.5, what we like to call Feed Your Fish. You really are going to be looking to feed Nibla all of these clownfish. But you want to avoid feeding him the lurchins. So he'll have 4 different stages. Blue is his happiest stage, which is, everything's hunky-dory. Then you have purple. He's getting a little bit sad. Pink, he's starting to get enraged. And then red, he's full on out for blood, coming to kill you. So we're gonna try to keep him in the purple, blue, and pink stages for the whole level. But if we do mess up, Demon does have a second Kong that he can take damage if push comes to shove. But so far, so good. He's not really having any issues. Yeah, he's playing it safe right there, making sure not to eat that lurchin over that one corner. So it looks like he's going to be out here just fine, because this ending is commentator's curse. I was going to say relatively. He was doing so well. It's actually kind of surprising that that's the spot that got him. But that actually, believe it or not, is totally fine. Because, like I mentioned earlier, having 1 Kong on the overworld is actually more ideal than 2. And this boss, there's a special note about this boss. He can't hurt you. So because he can't hurt you, the developers did not put a DK barrel into this boss, unlike every other boss in every other DK game, as far as I'm aware, or DKC game on the SNES. So yeah, because we only have 1 Kong, we enter in that barrel without having to wait for a second Kong to follow us up. We have all this overworld movement that we get with just 1 Kong, and we enter in Funky's mechanic shop, which is get through it faster because we only have 1 Kong. So believe it or not, it might have actually been a time save to take damage there at the end of Feed Your Fish, just to have 1 Kong throughout the rest of this setup section that he's going to go through here shortly. So he's this boss makes absolutely no sense. Like, Eric is actually quite fun to play, but challenging. Belch is a little bit goofy, but this guy is just straight up weird. You have to shoot water into his eyes, but he lives in a. That's what hits him. So makes like no sense whatsoever. Very, very goofy. But yeah, we're gonna dip on out of there. Bye bye, Squirt. It also has a weird name, Squirt. So very, very awkward. Okay, I was wondering why Demon wasn't moving. No, we're off into the hovercraft. Finally gonna get a new vehicle. This will be, I believe, the last new vehicle that we'll see in this run. Although I should mention that there is another vehicle after the jet ski, which we're getting right now, called the what is it called? The DK copter or something like that. It's the vehicle that you get when you get all of the DK coins, and you're able to fly over the world map instead of through the water. Yeah, so the jet ski is pretty cool. Very, very fast. Lets you go up the, allowing you access to World 5, 6, and 7. So it's also important to note that we did switch off to. He was going for solo Dixie strides. That's awesome, dude. So I mentioned earlier that 1 Kong is optimal for when you enter in barrels. So there are several barrels in this level, and he was trying to not break open that DK barrel so that he didn't have to do that extra delay through all these barrels coming up here shortly. Also, Dixie in front is optimal here because she does jump off these horizontal ropes so much cleaner than Kitty. I can't emphasize that enough. Kitty is so awkward on horizontal ropes, whereas Dixie is crisp and clean So it's kind of a bummer. So you can see how Kitty actually has to like get dragged into the barrel before the up arrow barrel actually shoots out. So that's what Demon was trying to avoid by getting rid of or not going through the DK barrel at the beginning of this level. So you can see Demon is actually manipulating the TNT barrel, guys. If he does touch those orange barrels, they will explode and kill him. So he's manipulating them left and right. There are a few spots where you can actually, if you do optimal rope jumps, you can just jump straight up, jump, without any movement left or right, and bypass them all. But again, normally you're solo Dixie, and one mistake, one messed up jump is death. So probably why he opted for the left-right wiggle strat. So here we got another toboggan level. So we have Demolition Drain Pipe in World 3, aka Mechanos. Now we have in World 5, what is this? Tearaway Toboggan. So another level goes pretty fast, and if you're a casual player, I'm sure you've had many issues with this one. If you don't know the level layout, they come up on you so fast that's very easy to die. Also, super sad when you get to the end of the level and there are these houses that you can kind of either jump through, or sorry, you can either jump on top of the houses or you can ride through the houses in some instances. But at the end of the level, there's one that you can't go through. And even if you have two Kongs, if you hit the side of the house, you just straight up die. And I've definitely had that happen to me on a run before when I wasn't fully paying attention. I was like, and then like that house right there with that G, you run into the side of that house and you just lose both Kongs right away. And it's at the very end of the level. Definitely a heartbreaker. Okay, so barrel drop bounce, aka BDB. You know, we're really creative with these names. Very annoying. One of the worst things about DKC3 is ledges. Shouldn't be too much of an issue in this category, all stages, but there is like a bonus barrel above Demon right now, up and to the right, and typically you have to roll off the ledge and jump to the right. And that ledge can eat your roll jump very easily and just cost you 10-20 seconds, every time you fail it. So a lot of people familiar with this speedrun really hate playing BDB. Then you also have this strat right here. There's a lot of level that we do not explore off to the left. Instead, we're going to team up, team throw to two. He's actually doing it in 2 cycles. Very nice. I actually thought he was going to do 3. I think like normally the safer strat would be to do 3 total throws to bypass that section off to the left. But he went for the balls to the wall strat, going two cycles only. Very nice. Give the applause to Demon on that one. That is not an easy trick to accomplish, and he got it first try. So I was mentioning earlier about the machine levels. This is the third and final one that I was referencing, KSK, Crack Shot Croc. So the cheese balls earlier, we saw the birds spitting them at us. Now this time, we can actually see the crosshairs on screen. So we got to be moving fast to not let that crack shot eat us up. And we are playing as the Spider, and if you're familiar, the Spider with DKC2, the Spider is also in that game as well. But the Spider behaves a little bit differently in DKC3. In DKC2, you can press L and R at the same time to to both shoot out your web and expand it right away. We call those instant platforms or instant webs. In DKC3, you can do something similar, but you have to do the L and R presses at least 1 frame apart from each other. So it does make the DKC3 Spider a little bit more challenging to operate because you can't do L and R at the same time. Demon Op, there is a small window between those pink vats that he just webbed over that you can actually land on and not take damage. But Demon opted to take it safe and actually just web his way across. Then he did deboost there at the end. That was intentional to bypass that last set of pink vats. And since he did have 2 Kongs, he was totally safe there. Now let's see there. So these vats right again, he could have jumped over the red bead and landed between the vats and taken it and gone through this section without damage. But it is pretty spooky. And again, since you are only 1 Kong, you can't really blame him for not wanting to opt into that strat. Okay, so the Lemguin Lunge, I think it's called. This level is super annoying. In terms like, if you stick to the script and know like do all your rolls the right spots and your jumps the right spots, usually everything stays on course. But the problem is if you get a little bit off and things are a little bit out of cycle for you, these Lemguins have very awkward hitboxes. One frame you'll be totally fine rolling through it from above, but then the next frame you won't be and it'll kill you. And you, again, to reduce lag, we're playing as solo Dixie throughout this level. So because getting off your cycle can actually mess up these Lemguins and put them in a position where they can actually kill you. It's a very scary level to make any mistakes in, but it looks like he is having no issues so far. Very nice. Just got one section left here at the end. We'll see if he does a jump fly over. Okay, no, he didn't go for the jump fly strat up the hill, which you can do with a single Kong. He actually went for the pick up the second Kong right there, and then bounce off the Lemguins at the end, with the safety of knowing he did have two Kongs. So here we're off to Bleak, aka Snowman. He's gonna shoot some snowballs at us, but the circle on his scarf that's blinking, that's his weakness. So we're gonna throw some snowballs in there. Fun to note that in the Japanese version of this game, you can pause during the death jingle, and it just so happens for this boss, if you press start at the right time during that death jingle, you get to skip this boss completely. It's known as Bleak Skip. It is frame perfect, and you use an audio cue for it, and the audio cue is really, really bad, unfortunately. But we're on the US version of this game, so Demon will not be able to go for that technique. But again, as I mentioned earlier in the Chaos fight, the Japanese fight does not get to do what Demon did, which is the one cycle attempt using the infinite team throwing trick. So it is a trade-off. You do get to opt into the Bleak Skip on the J version or the one cycle Chaos on the U version. Bleak Skip does save more time, but it is frame perfect and uses a terrible audio cue. And so I definitely agree with Demon's decision to use the US version of this game for this this run. And what's this? This is, ooh, I can't remember what this world's called. slipping my mind right. But this is one of my most mentioned the 3 machine. This one's also this actually might be my favorite. Buzzer Barrage, when done optimally, is just so satisfying. There's a lot of these. A lot of the developer intended strats are to pick up barrels. To kill green bees that are in your way, but just like in World 8 that we saw earlier, with the teaming up and team throwing while hugging a wall to bypass some sections, you can see right there Demon's using the wall to his advantage, and then deboost right there through the helicopter guy. So there's gonna be a lot of that throughout this level, whether it's deboosting or hugging walls to get through some enemies that you're not supposed to really, the developers didn't realize that you could do. So it ends up making this level very, very sleek. Yeah, like right there's another ceiling that we get to hug. He's gonna go off to, he's gonna try to go with the white roll. He didn't get there in time to set it up, unfortunately, so now he's gonna have to wait through these helicopter dudes. You could usually deboost through them. You could also go through the wall on that bee in particular, but he was already having to wait for the helicopter guys anyways, so not a big deal to pick up the barrel while he was waiting to make that nice and easy. So here you can see him very meticulously set up on the left side of wall, not to go too far to the right so he didn't bonk into the bee. That is one of the more challenging spots because you can't just like ram your face into a wall. He actually had to line up in dead space essentially. So yeah, when done optimally, this level is absolutely gorgeous, both to look at and to play. We'll see. There is a trick believe it or not, there is a trick in this bear cutscene. Let's see if he goes for it. Okay, so he does go for it. You won't have noticed it unless you're very, very into this community. But essentially, what happens if you're casually playing this game? These bears, they're talking to you. Those text boxes pop up. It turns out you can actually skip the final text box by pressing left on the D-pad for that bear in particular. after you've accepted the ski lift ride. So there's the first 2 text boxes are just text. The third one is a prompt asking, do you want to take the ski lift? And you say yes. And then you press left before the 4th text box comes up. So it's a little bit of a time save right there. Again, it's such a minor thing, but it's kind of cool. And it's not the only spot they can use that trick in. So in the very first, when he went into Wrinkly's cave, he's able to skip all of those text boxes using a very similar technique. Also, if you're playing 103%, these 2 bears, Benny and Bjorn, are the ski lift guards, and both of those guys you can do the text box skip. So there are definitely a few applications for this technique. It's not just a one-off. And this is Burn Your Rope. Typically during the speed run, this is where the runner will give their update on their run. They'll let us know how they're feeling, both happiness or sadness, usually sadness. Because usually by the time you're at this point, you probably had a long day of resetting at Bleak for that frame perfect trick. So you're like, man, thank gosh I'm finally through that, but now I still have a really tough World 6 and World 7 to get through before I'm actually done with this game. So yeah, we call this the Burn Your Rope update. It is I think it's like 2.5 minutes long level, and it's just an auto-scroller, so not much to do here. Again, a lot of these auto-scrollers on DK3 can actually be pretty challenging as a casual player. Again, because like Demon knows exactly where he can sit on the rope without taking damage, what enemies are coming up, etc. Like an example, like this section right there, because he knows how it works, he can get through that B section no problem, makes it look easy. But if you put a controller in the hands of some random Joe Schmo, it's very easy for them to take damage on these parts. So he is making this look easy, but some of these auto scrolls are actually tough if you don't know what's going on. So, and again, since it is such a long level, very easy, just like Ripsaw Rage. I guess whatever the Saw level was in Mechano. Very easy to fall asleep at this level just because it is so slow, but does get through it with no problems. Okay, so Demon's entering Floodlit Fish, and he's gonna get to play as Unguard, but for the unless he makes a mistake, he'll be taking 0 of these yellow fish lights that are available to him throughout the level. The developers kind of kept you in the dark and then wanted you to ram Unguard's face into these yellow fish to light up the way. But when you bounce off those yellow fish, you actually lose all of your momentum and go in the opposite direction and then have to regain that momentum, and it's just very, very slow. And since we don't really need to see in this level, since we can have the level memorized, we don't take any of the yellowfish unless we actually make a mistake. And honestly, if you're playing on your TV and you have a high enough brightness, like you can actually see quite well through this level. You light. He's just gonna skip all of those yellow guys. And he is gonna be going through a lot of these lurchins. You got to be careful though. If the lurchin is fully closed up, like right there, Unguard can't kill them. So there are certain lunge patterns that we're looking for to make it through these enemies safely and quickly. However, now that he's solo Kong, I can't blame him for just taking it nice and safe there, waiting for the lurchins to get out of his way. Because again, even if he tries to follow the pattern, if he makes a mistake with a solo Kong, he is dead. Ew, okay, whew. I thought he was about to lunge right into the closed one. That was he was laughing, scared for him, but no, he's in there. A-okay. Definitely can be a scary level. Especially in 103%, there is a bonus that requires you to lunge through lurchins. So if you did happen to unfortunately take damage earlier in the level and didn't have a backup Kong, and if you're playing the 103% category, you are forced to make that leap of faith to get into that one bonus. So definitely can be a scary level. Now, this is Pothole Panic. If you're familiar with DKC2, there's a level called Animal Antics, I believe, where you get to play as all of the animal buddies. This is the DKC3 equivalent. We're gonna start with the bird, then we're gonna go to the fish, then the elephant, and then lastly the spider. However, it is kind of cool to note that there is a way to skip the parrot section. You can actually do a roll, jump, fly as Dixie at the very, very beginning. And if you do it just right, you can actually bypass the bird and get to the high cliff that's supposed to be like out of the way for a Kong to get to. And it does save a little bit of time. We don't need the elephant for this section. The elephant is useful in 103% bonus that requires you to get Ellie and then jump back to reach the bonus. But since we aren't doing that category, we're gonna just use Kitty to. He was trying to water bounce there, so Kitty does, like, Dixie has the flying ability as her specialty. Kitty has a water bounce as his special ability. And in that particular spot, he would have been able to water bounce with a perfectly timed B press to, it's not frame perfect, sorry, I didn't mean it like that, but it's an awkward press for him because he's coming from so high up, the camera's not panned down to the water yet. So he kind of has to anticipate when the water's going to show up and then press B accordingly. And so it can be a pretty hard trick to get. But if he gets it, he would have been able to water bounce right into the auto barrel. So let's see, he should be setting up a D-boost right here off the green B. Perfect. That lets him reach that rope up there, skipping a little bit of the level. And setting up the better Kong for this, by the way. Definitely want to have Dixie, like I mentioned in 5-1 and 4-3. Anything with these horizontal ropes, Dixie is the queen. You do not want to let Kitty be the court jester here. He just does not handle very well on rope sections. So another level coming up, 7-1 conveyor belt way or something like that, is another horizontal rope dependent level. And you're going to play as Dixie through most of it, but if, like, watch out, because if he does end up with Kitty in that level, the bees can spell death very, very easily there. Okay, he did not do a swap. Normally we swap from Dixie into Kitty at the beginning of this boss, intentionally so, because as I mentioned earlier, in DKC3, the game does remember what Kong you started with when entering the barrel. So like if he takes damage on this boss right now, he had Dixie in front, so he'll end up with Kitty in front. And like I mentioned in 7-1, we want to play all the horizontal ropes with Dixie. So typically we swap to Kitty at the beginning of this boss, play throughout it. That way if we take damage, like he did right there, he would have had Dixie in front for 7-1. Or if he doesn't take damage during the course of this fight, he would have been able to deboost through the boss during the final phase to grab the coin a little bit quicker and set up Dixie for 7-1. So unless I missed it, maybe he did swap. I'm pretty sure I didn't see him swap to Kitty out in front there. So that's a little bit of a mistake from Demon. Because now, yeah, like he had to play the boss perfectly to have the right Kong order for 7-1. So he's going to be a little bit off, but he did get through the final section without taking. Very, very scary with only one Kong. He is trying to hover at the top right of that screen right there, just under Barbos's spike, like his lurchin spike, but just above where the spikes spray out at you. So like it's not like a pixel perfect window to sit in, but it is a little bit tight and pretty scary. And if you make it like single Kong, if you make a mistake, you're dead. So definitely was pretty he's probably very, very happy he did not end up dying there. That would have been very, very possible in that situation. Yeah, he is getting his second Kong back, and as you can see, immediately swaps to Dixie. She's just so much better at using horizontal ropes. Unlike all other horizontal ropes levels, though, this conveyor belt level, the belts do move. Most of them move to the right, giving you an extra speed boost, but there are a few ropes that do move backwards to the left, and so we want to avoid the ones moving to the left, and we want to utilize the ones moving to the right as much as possible for the extra speed boost that they provide. Like that one right there does move to the left, so you see he jumped off of it immediately, whereas this one right here was moving to the right, so he stayed on it as long as he could. He's going to navigate a little bit of a B section right here, and does take a jump of safety. I think he was worried he was not going to make that cycle. I don't think he would have. That was a smart choice there. There is a way to set up this final rope section that you don't have to do any jumps off of the rope. That he could have stayed holding right all the way through those circling Bs without any problems, but it requires a very particular setup. And you know, again, any mistake would have been a dead Kong there. But he does have 2 Kongs, so he could have gone for it without too much risk. So here we're off into what is it? Creepy Caverns, otherwise Crappy Caverns or RNG Caverns, because these ghost barrels are random. They're seeded per se, or in truth, but you don't know what seed you're on, so you're at the mercy of the RNG guys. Did he get a good seed? Did he get a bad seed? And right there, that other ghost barrel, he did get a good one where it was right away facing up. And normally this one is also facing up right away, which it is, so he takes it perfect. But there are a few that could be, you know, make him wait 3, 4, sometimes even 5 phases. And so again, this is at the very end of the run. And if you're on a very good run and you lose, you get a bad pattern, you can easily lose, you know, 5 to 8 seconds off of these ghost barrels. Very, very, very frustrating. And you can see this clobber staircase right there, super annoying. If you like, there is a way to perfectly climb that staircase and skip the ghost barrel that follows that staircase. However, one mistake and it mess up the whole cycle. So after that point, there's nothing you can do but just you know, work with what you got essentially. Oof, and this is the worst ghost barrel because it goes by way faster than the other one. Nice, he got it the second try at least. But not only does it go faster than the other ones, the problem is if you make a mistake and you get shot up back to the left, which is exactly what happened to Demon, there's that DK coin guy that's in the way. So even if the next one is the upright barrel, that DK coin guy is going to block your path and keep you from getting in there right away. So there's a lot of ways to lose time at that final one. That is the most annoying ghost barrel in the whole level. So we're off to lightning lookout now. You'll notice that you get a little flash of lightning before it actually strikes. And Demon is going to be trying to manipulate that as best as he can. It actually does have a pattern to it. It's going to try to predict Demon's movement, so it looks at where he's facing and what his velocity is, I believe is how it works, to try to place a lightning bolt that's going to be in his way. Now, by knowing that it's velocity dependent, there are ways to delay your rolls at certain points and then roll after the lightning shows up to bypass it, but it can be very, very tricky even at an elite level to fully get optimal cycles throughout this level. So it ends up being a lot of you know, back and forth lightning manipulation to avoid taking damage. That's going to be definitely worse than anything else. There are a few deboosts that we do as well. Should be one coming up right here. Let's see if he goes for it. Okay, so he's taking it safe, not going for the deboost. It is important to note that this lightning does have a way to deactivate for a brief amount of time. Whenever you take damage, or whenever you have a single Kong and you break open a DK barrel, the lightning does stop for a set amount of frames. So there are specific spots where we deboost to essentially normalize the lightning pattern. So even if you were off cycle in the first half of the level, once you get to that normalized spot, you're back to a known pattern and can go the rest of the way with the standard strats, if you will. So he is coming up to the end of the level. He's got to be very careful. Last end. Normally, if you go fast enough, there's no lightning at this very end part. Here was like 1 or 2 extra lightning bolts that we don't normally see. Just because he did have only 1 Kong, it was taking a little bit extra safe at the end. So I was a little bit spooked, but he did get out of there without any further injury. So nice that he was able to manage that. And then we're off to Coin Dozer Clamber. These are like the brethren of all the DK coin guys that we have killed throughout this run when you're talking about 103%. So yeah, normally the DK coin guys, they have these shields that have DK coins on them. I like to think of these guys as the ghosts of all of those DK coin guys that we've killed throughout the run, and they're back for vengeance. So they're going to try to body us off all of these platforms. So we're going to try to avoid as many as possible, and then obviously like some like that one right there, we have to use to reach ledges. But as best as we can, we're going to try to stay out of their way, because if we do end up on the platform with them, it's very easy on these small islands to get pushed off into oblivion and then have to play the whole level over again. Now there's a cool swaggy strat at the end where you can actually boost off the final DK going guy right there, or a Coin Dozer right there, and he will boost you past the final gap, and it is like 0.2 seconds faster, but the risk is if you mess it up, you die, or you can die, I should say. So you gotta be pretty crazy to go for it, but it is kind of a cool strat to actually get to use one of the boosts as a speed strat, a little optimization. This is what I believe should be the final level, the last platform level of the game, Poisonous Pipeline. Like LGL had the gimmick where green gas slowed us down. This is the purple liquid, which is going to reverse our controls. So left is right and right is left. So he's going to have to navigate this with the opposite D-pads. Although up is up and down is still down. So it's only like half inverted, if you will. But it can be kind of a mind trick, if you will, to use the right inputs at the right time. But once you have enough practice in it, it's honestly not too bad at all. I think this is one of those levels that's way harder the first time you play it because you're not used to this mechanic. But once you've practiced in it, it becomes fairly straightforward and just like a natural gameplay, to be honest. Now there is a strat here. Let's see if Demon knows about it. Okay, so he did take a little bit of a delay right there. You don't actually have to. If you're on the bottom of that little platform, and you just tap the swim button at the last moment, you can actually go over the lurchin and under the fish without taking damage. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not a huge time save. Just a small little thing. And now we're off to the final boss. This is K. Rool, or K. Rool 1, as I would say, because technically we already fought K. Nautilus in Krematoa, which was the third world that we played in this run. Technically is the last world, the 8th world in this game. That's actually supposed to be the final boss fight, and this is supposed to be the first fight of K. Rool. A very, very challenging fight. We're going to start off with like a mini chaos right here. Really nothing to it, just 2 barrel hits. You'll notice that Demon actually did a team-up team throw over Chaos after the first hit, but he delayed. He purposefully delayed until the head had already sunken into Chaos's body before team throwing over. That way, the barrel would be spawning on the same side as him. If he threw too early, the barrel would spawn on the opposite side of him. So that was a smart way to save a whole cycle on Chaos. But yeah, Chaos is the easier portion of this fight. The K. Rool part is much, much harder. He's going to be pulling on these levers to unlock these barrels, and he's going, like you can see right here, you're actually able to go under K. Rool a few times to hit him with these barrels. Now this one, ooh, he was going for, okay, now there's a way, if you're fast enough, to go over the left side of K. Rool on that after hitting that second lever, and then going back to the right soon enough to pick up the barrel and crash into his backpack at the same time, so you don't have to wait the extra little bit of a cycle. Or if he's fast enough, you can, while K. Rool's going up and to the right, you're able to move to the right with him and go under him and hit him the second time that way as well. But unfortunately, he was a little bit slow, wasn't able to do that strat, but didn't panic, did end up getting that cycle just fine. This phase right here, pretty easy. The final handle on the left is the one that's going to be the one he's looking to hit. So he did 2 hits on that. Totally fine. Ooh, he jumped a little bit early. Okay, this is very, very scary. Hold your breath, folks. He's going to have to take this very safe. He was trying to jump to the oncoming platform, but he flew a little bit too early and crashed right into the electricity. And there was, like, once he jumped too early, there was nothing he could do about that. It's just a good thing he didn't over panic and kill himself off as Kitty, because if he does take any more damage during this fight, he will die. He will have to play the whole Chaos, or the K. Rool portion of the fight over again. Fortunately, he won't have to do the Chaos part again. Once you beat that part, it is it is locked in this fight, so he would only have to do the K. Rool portion. But now he only has 3 hits left, so hopefully he can get through this just fine. There is a fast strat with both Kitty and with Dixie for these final 3 hits. But I don't expect him to go for the fast hits since he only has 1 Kong. If he had 2 Kongs, I would expect him to go for the quick hits. Essentially, you see what he's doing. He's picking up these levers, or pulling down these levers, getting in the barrel, and then going back to the same side he was on, and then waiting for K. Rool. So that's like the standard safe strat. But you can actually pull the lever, take the barrel, go to the right, and meet K. Rool in the middle. And that is a GG from DemonBattler right there. Very, very nice. That was like a 109.26 or 7. So definitely coming in under estimate for him. Very nice. Give a round of applause for Demon on that one. I believe he might have only had 1 death. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought he did a very nice job. Shoutouts to Demon. Very, very tough video game right here. Anyone who has played this will be able to confirm that. A lot of the levels he played, especially the Kremato one that he played early on in this run, very, very challenging stuff. So GG once again to Demon on this run. I think we have Demon now live on air. Congratulations, Demon. Oh,
there we go.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, now you're unmuted. Congratulations, man. How do you feel?
Alright, I feel good. I definitely need to retime this once it's done, because I'm noticing, because I actually have the stream up. Your timer is about 20 seconds off. My final time was actually 109.15 for my timer, which is actually a minute 21 PB.
Very, very nice. Yeah, I was mentioning that I thought you played very, very well. I died. Not missing.
Yeah, I had 1 death in Tracker Barrel, which I didn't. I have not died like that in a long time.
Yeah, I mentioned that's a tough part. If you only have 1 call, the developer strat of going under those 2 Bs is actually very, very So I wasn't too surprised to see you have a little bit of a snafu there, if you will.
Yeah, especially with me having Kitty with the bigger hitbox and all.
Exactly.
But honestly, I'm okay with that, because I managed to make up a lot of time in World 5 and in World 6, because my PB actually had a death in Burn Your Rope in a Kong Fused, because I actually made it to the very end of the level and went to jump, and I was like 2 or 3 pixels too low, and I fell to die, and I fell and lost a minute and a half.
Yikes! Yeah, that's rough.
So, thankfully, I was able to come back to that.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, congrats to your PB, and run well. Have fun watching it back.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna have to, because since I actually cut out because my Discord messed up, probably about the time of World 1 ending, so I'm definitely have to go back at least to hear the commentary.
Awesome. Well, that sounds great. So yeah, that's I think that's DKC3 in a nutshell there for you guys. You got to see every single played to a pretty good standard right there. Only 1 death, so that's, again, shout outs to Demon for that. Very, very fun game. If you're looking to run any of the Donkey games, make sure to check out dkcspeedruns.com for the wiki full of the strategy guides for how to play these levels optimally, or join our Discord, and we'll be happy to help you out. And thanks for Winter Pride for allowing Demon and myself to come on and showcase this fantastic game for you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much for letting us help with this cause.
Thank you for coming. This was a wild ride. I could not tear my eyes away from the screen at all the entire time. Like, I was wanting to, butt in and read some things, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch.
I have to say, I think my biggest highlight for this run was definitely the 2-cycle chaos.
Yeah, I mentioned that's not easy.
No, it's not.
That takes a lot of practice to get 2 or 1 cycle on that guy. He's really, really tough.
Hopefully one day I can finally get a 1 cycle on camera, because I've done it once offline.
We'll be rooting for you, Demon. But I think that's it for me. So I'm gonna be heading off here. But again, thank you guys for having me on this. It was an absolute pleasure. And I hope you guys enjoy all the future runs here for Winter Pride. Doing some good stuff here, guys.
Yep. Very good with all this. And it's going to be fun to see everything else that's coming up.
guys. You're watching Winter Pride 2018. We're going on now until the, let's see, we're about 10:20 p.m. on Sunday night. Next up, we're going to have Super Mario Galaxy Any % Luigi by Potter's the Dragon. We actually have a donation incentive going on for that run right now. We have an incentive to show the Loop-de-Loop skip, which is a skip that has not really been seen outside of the Super Mario Galaxy community. And if that is met, we will actually have the creator of the skip be joining Potters on commentary for that. So that's going to be really hype. It's about $46 away. It is $704.69 out of $750. So we're hoping to hit that really soon. The cutoff is going to be right about the end of the run. It's going to be showcased at the very end of the run. So you don't have to worry about missing that. It'll be at the very end. Winter Pride 2018 benefits the Trevor Project. The Trevor Project is a leading national organization providing crisis intervention and suicide prevention services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth. You can check them out at trevorproject.org to access their services, find out more about their impact, or to donate.